Welcome to the Starter Girlz podcast, your ultimate source of inspiration and empowerment. We're here to help women succeed in every area of their lives: career, money, relationships, and health and well-being, while celebrating the remarkable journeys of individuals from all walks of life who've achieved amazing things. Whether you're looking to supercharge your career, build financial independence, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, the Starter Girlz podcast is here to guide you. Join us as we explore the journeys of those who dare to dream big and achieve greatness. I'm your host, Jennifer Loehding, and welcome to this episode. Welcome to another episode of the Starter Girlz podcast. Wherever you are tuning in today, we are so excited to have you, and I am excited that you're here. We've got another fabulous guest coming on the show, of which I just met today. So I'm excited to learn about her and her journey and all those good things. But let me tell you about her real quick. Joan Ekobena is a wife, mother of 3 young adults. She's a successful transformation expert, CEO, and international best-selling author. As the leader of Home Care Solutions Incorporated, DBA Visiting Angels, and Premier Destiny, Joan has earned multiple awards and accolades for her excellence in business and personal development. Through Premier Destiny, she coaches business owners, leaders, and ambitious professionals, guiding them towards success and prosperity. And as if that is not enough, she's also a Forbes Business Council thought leader. Her articles on Forbes.com reflect her expertise in business success and personal growth. Her award-winning book, Money Locates You, featured in the Forbes Executive Library, showcases her expertise in elevating business success and personal growth. So we're excited to get her on, but before we do that and chat with her, I do need to do a quick shout out to our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Productions. Need to add excitement to your YouTube videos or some expert hands for editing? Look no further. Walt Mills is the solution you've been searching for. Walt is not only your go-to guy for spicing up content, he's the force behind a thriving film production company with numerous titles in the pipeline. Always on the lookout for raw talent, Walt is eager to collaborate on film and internet productions. With a background deeply rooted in entertainment and promotion, Walt Mills leverages years of skills to give you the spotlight you deserve. Want to learn more about Walt and his work? Head on over to waltmillsproductions.net and let your content shine. All right. And with that, I think we're ready to bring our guest on. One more thing I do want to mention to our audience, all of you listening in, be sure you head on over to startergirlz.com. And if you don't know that, you haven't been following us for a while, that's a Z, not an S. So startergirlz.com. There you can get into all of these missed episodes and the current episodes, but also you can subscribe to our newsletter, keep up with what's going on and all of our featured guests. All right. So we're ready to bring our guest on the show. My most favorite parts. Joan, welcome to the Starter Girlz podcast. We're so excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Jennifer, and all the Starter Girlz. I am really excited to be on your show. Thank you.
This is going to be fun. So, Joan, where are you tuning in from today? What part of the country are you in?
From the beautiful state of Maryland, where you have the best crabs in the world, right?
Awesome. I've
Yes.
actually never been to Maryland. I've been up to like Boston. I mean, I've been in some of the East Coast, but never up there. So It's funny how we can live in, the States, and there's so many great places to be. And like some of them we've just never traveled to,
Yeah.
So awesome. So I want to talk about you. I want to start off talking a little bit about what you're doing, how, in the business world, you've got so many amazing things going on. And this is what I love about dynamic entrepreneurs, because a lot of us just have so many things going on in our world. Our hands are all over the place, and you're inspiring and doing a lot of things. So just tell us a little bit about what you got going on right now.
A lot.
Yes, you do.
Got a lot going on. So like you mentioned earlier, I am the CEO of Home Care Solutions, DBA Visiting Angels, which is a home care franchise. We have 4 franchises in the DMV area, and also running a Premier Destiny, which is a coaching for success and prosperity company. And of course, I'm an author. I write for Forbes.com as well as a thought leader there, working on starting coaching services with home care owners to make sure that those who are excited to get into the industry know what they're getting into, right? And they get started on the right foundation. So that is coming on as well.
Yeah. And I know I have a friend here in my circle that does franchising as well. So I know it can be a really lucrative thing, and it's all
Yes.
about finding the right people and getting them into the right places. And I think the thing that I kind of like about the franchising, if they're good, is that you guys kind of help them get going. It's not like just go, you're by yourself, throw you out there, figure out your business, which is so hard, right? As an
Yes.
entrepreneur to start out and figure everything out on your own. Do you want to talk
Trust
a little
me,
bit about that?
trust me, it can be very challenging,
Yeah.
especially in the home care space. We were blessed to find Visiting Angels, which is our franchisor, and eventually over the years, so this is almost close to 23 years now, we have four home care Visiting Angels franchises in the DMV area. But starting out
Yeah.
can be very challenging. Sometimes it can feel lonely, but if you have the support of your franchisor or a mentor, someone who's already successful in this space, it can be of a great help. So yeah, it can be challenging, but there are resources out there, people who are successful in the industry that can help you get started. And this new course that I'm talking about is just going to do that. It's going to help those who are looking to get into the industry or those who are already in the industry and are not getting where they want to. They're not making the progress or seeing the results that they would love, to help them build that solid foundation and skill.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know the work going behind building out a course. I'm actually finishing up one right now. And it's so funny
Ooh.
because I had built a high ticket course about a year, maybe a little over a year ago. And then I got it done and I was like, what do I do with this thing? Like, it's huge. Like, where do I put it? Right. And so then I worked with another mentor in a mastermind group and worked on basically how to engineer that backwards and build out an offer suite. And so I'm actually finishing up something within that right now. And so I know, the depth it takes to get in there and actually dig in and build those courses. But I think there's something kind of fun about it too, right? Like, especially if you like to be a little bit creative and you like
Yes.
teaching, there's something kind of fun and magical about it. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
I love that. I can sit for hours doing that. I love, writing. I love creating things, so it's fun. It can be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you on that too. It's crazy too because I think I was telling my husband about this. It's like I love to create things. I don't like the minutia stuff. Like I told you before we jumped on it. I don't like technology. I just want somebody to do like all those things that I hate doing, right? Like I just want to
Mm.
create the things. I love doing these interviews like this. I don't like the other side. I just want to get on here and talk to you fabulous people, tell your stories, have these conversations. But then we have to get to like the hard parts. Then I'm like, can somebody come in, do that part? So I
Yeah,
love
you
creating.
have to do what you're best at, right? So,
That's exactly. I'm with you on that. So I want to back this up a little bit. I want to talk about what brought you to all of this because you mentioned getting into franchising 25 years ago. Because I don't know about you, but I think sometimes entrepreneurs are born. Some of us are. Like I knew as a young child. I mean, I joke about this now. I was a young child. I was making things. Like I was trying to create businesses when I was like in elementary school, and by the time I was in middle school, I was mowing yards. I was knocking on people's doors saying, "Can I mow your yard for money?"
mm.
But I think a lot of entrepreneurs are not. They sort of evolve into that. So I'm curious to know what brought you to that space. If you knew this or if there was just like a happen chance that happened for you.
Jennifer, when you said that, I was like, oh. So let me tell you my story.
Yes. Tell us the story.
My entrepreneurial journey started from when I was 8. So you may not know, but I'm originally from Cameroon. It's in West Africa.
Okay.
And I grew up in a very lowly family, very humble, but full of love, right? And full of faith. Um, Finances were not overflowing, so to say. And I had to help my grandmother, my grandparents, because my mom had left like when we were maybe, I could have been like 6 or 5. My younger sister was like 3, to study abroad in France. And so things were kind of rough. So I did whatever I could do. I started making little snacks to sell to my classmates during break time. From the age of 8, I would sell fruits that were in season. We had a huge compound, so fruits were plenty. But I always look for something to do to earn money somehow. And my sister would like, she's not so entrepreneurial, although she's now. Back then she wasn't. She would want to eat the best fruits. I'm like, oh no, 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 we're gonna sell the best fruits, right? To make the money. So
Shouldn't I be doing?
that started from way back then, right? So it's always been in me. And as God will have it, I went to England. My mom sent me to England to study. Um, at that point, I separated with my high school sweetheart, who is my husband now and my business partner. So it was almost about 10 years in England, while the same year he came to the US. It was challenging, but after that, he said, "Come over." I had finished my MBA in banking and finance, and I registered for my PhD. And he said, "Oh no, you have to come over now." I'm like, okay, what am I going to prioritize here? My family or further education? So I decided to come to the US. Long story short, when I came here, I started looking for work. I was like, okay, this is the US, right? I'm going to get this corporate dream and, make it big in the corporate world in US. But when I started looking for jobs, I wanted to be a bank manager all along from childhood. I was only giving jobs to like maybe teller positions and stuff like that. I'm like, oh no, not with the qualification that I have and the experience that I have.
Yeah.
And my friends were like, Joan, what works in the US for Black people or Black women is nursing. At that point, my mindset was at a different level. So I went into nursing, starting from the bottom. I started as a certified nursing assistant, as a CNA, that's the lowest level. Went into LPN school, and then the IT boom came along, right? And my husband and I went into IT. So I became an Oracle database administrator, Oracle Financials. I did that. But the first job that I got was as a systems analyst. I knew nothing about it. So, I'm not the one to shy away from any challenge. I embraced it. I took it on. Guess what, Jennifer? The first 2 weeks, 15 people were laid off. Didn't know what they were doing. But thank God I hung in there and I did it. But during the course of that position, so I was the senior database analyst for the airports authority for National and Dulles Airport. So we managed all of that. And Y2K came along. Remember when they said all the planes were going to collide and so forth?
Yeah.
So I worked on that. It was very successful. And President Bush Jr. came to greet us. It was all exciting. So I was like, yes, I got a promotion. But somehow I just had this overwhelming feeling to leave that job and just venture out. Some people thought we were crazy. Some people like, are you sure? My boss called me and said, Joan, do you want a salary raise? Do you want another promotion? I said, no. I just have to pivot. I just have to do this now. And we started looking, and because I had dabbled a little bit in nursing, we decided to go into home care. And so that's how we got into home care. It was kind of long-winded, but after a while, I realized, okay, maybe this journey was all planned for me to be here, right? Because the experience that I'd gotten as a CNA, as an LPN, worked with some agencies, my IT experience, working at the airports, all that was coming into play. And I was like, wow. So that's how we started home care solutions back in 2002. And things evolved very fast. The business was growing, was doing very well. And other ideas just started coming. How do we help other home care owners who want to do this, right? And I'll stop there so you can ask your next question. I could just
Good.
go
Thank
on and
you for
on.
sharing all that. No, I love it. And there's so many takeaways for this, for somebody listening to this. One, I love that you told the story about your childhood because you gave me chills when I was thinking about it. Because
Mhm.
when you were talking about the inventory, I'd be like the same way. But don't touch the inventory. That's what we're selling to make the money. I think some of us are, and here's the thing I will say about this podcast. I love that I have the opportunity to meet people from all over the world because what I have found is that universally we all kind of want similar things, right? We want happiness, we want success, we want to
Yes.
thrive, we want all these things, right? And it's fun when I hear a story like this about somebody from another part of the world as a young child in another country, another culture, all of these,
Yes.
and we have a similar resonance in that we had
Yeah.
this drive to want to create something and manifest money, whatever, or, whatever that was for us at that time. And obviously
Yes.
now as a developed entrepreneur, you know that wealth is much more than just about having cash in your pocket, right? But when I used to say this when I was in Mary Kay, to my team. I don't know if you knew this. I was in Mary Kay for 22 years. So I was in leadership for a really long time, built teams. But I
Okay.
would say to people, like when you don't have money, it ranks with breathing, right? Like, what do you do when you don't have it? It's almost like you're suffocating. And so, however you grew up, you definitely, am getting this from you, learn some kind of work ethic and some kind of
Yes.
gratitude for putting in the work and building success for yourself. And I love that. So,
Yes.
such a great story. The other thing I really love is that you are like, a couple things. One, willing to do things, right? Willing to learn and do things, but it also makes you very, I say knowledgeable too, and expertise. And that's what I love about your journey, because I think you said it kind of in there somewhere about our past, kind of taking all these different pieces that we take away that bring us to where we are.
Yes.
Because anybody that I feel like has had success, there are a few people that get right in and they have immediate success and that's it. They stay there and that's what they've done. And that they're, you know what I mean? Most people are constantly learning and evolving. And so they're developing, as they go. And
Along the way, yeah.
yeah, I say the same thing because if, when I joined Mary Kay in 1999 in my late 20s, I thought I was going to be there forever. And I was there 22 years. I was with that organization for that long. I thought I was never going to leave. And then I had a life circumstance happen that kind of drew me in a different place. And I realized that I needed to pull what I learned from there and take my gifts and talents and put them in a place where I could actually feel like I could thrive more.
Yes.
So had I never had that experience, I probably wouldn't be doing the podcast. I would have never led people. I would have never probably
Mm.
developed the leadership skills I needed. So we need those journeys.
Yes. Yes, we do.
So
Yes, we do. In life, you always have to be open to learn, unlearn, and relearn.
yeah,
That's how you evolve. That's how you grow.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I want to talk about a little bit about you've kind of mentioned some things here, but I would love to know, even for somebody listening to this, because they're looking at you and going, this lady's successful and you've shared your journey. And I know it wasn't an easy one because it never is, but maybe some of the hurdles, getting into this entrepreneur space, moving from there, obviously you kind of touched upon leaving away from the job and coming into this space, but maybe some things that you felt were hurdles you had to overcome to get your this franchise business going and get where you are today?
The challenges were plenty,
Yeah.
I have to say, but it's it's the mindset that gets you over those challenges,
Right.
right? The challenges are always going to be there. You just have to embrace them head on and keep moving. So right from my childhood, moving to England when I was, I think, 18 or 19, into a new country, my accent was laughed at, and I just had to, the weather was different. I had to cope with all of that. And then after all that, when you feel like, okay, you're finally getting your feet on the ground, I had to relocate now to the US.
Right.
And then it was almost like starting all over, So the challenges were always there. But I think my faith, my determination, just knowing that uh, this mindset that I have, that I can succeed in whatever I put my mind to do, because I know my identity, I know who I am, you know, um, helped me get through those challenges. But one in particular that, wow, was the COVID-19. So we were well in our home care business. Things were going on well. And, we thought, yeah, the revenue was growing and we thought like everything was fine. But just before COVID-19, actually, things started plateauing. Revenue started plateauing. And then COVID came and we almost lost everything. Jennifer, it was bad. We almost lost everything. During that time, my husband had traveled and he was in Africa stuck. He couldn't fly back
Oh,
for
wow.
almost 6 months.
Oh, my
And I
goodness.
was running those franchises. It was challenging, and we just saw business plummeting, plummeting. At that point, I realized everything I learned in business school has its place. It's not the strategy that keeps you going. The strategy sets the foundation.
Right.
And that is what we learned in business school. You have to set your long-term, short-term, your goals and all of that, your strategies, have those in place, down pat, and you'll be successful. That's true to a certain degree.
Right.
It's the mindset that keeps you going. It's the mindset. When the strategy sets the foundation, the mindset propels you. It keeps you going. So when that challenge came on, I had to go back and do some introspection. Look at myself. I'm like, okay, Joan, you do not fail. That failure is not part of my vocabulary. How do I get out of this? How do we make this work? And my husband and I, thank God, he's been into personal development way longer than I actually. So we just looked at what we could do differently with our mind. So it was the mindset that got us through. We changed things based on the mindset. We realized that we had to think differently. We had to have this mindset instilled in our employees as well, because they may not have your vision.
Right.
They may not have it. They may be doing their job as best as they can, but they may not have your vision. So when we instilled in them that mindset, things started changing. As a matter of fact, that is when I wrote my book, Money Locates You. Okay? Because at that point, I felt like, okay, all the money that we had, been working so hard for was just dissipating. But I got the inspiration to write that book. And at the same time, created, I wanted to share this with you and your audience, this puzzle. Okay?
Fun.
Is the
Yeah.
manifestation puzzle to go with the book. And this is when I shared this with some, mentors and coaches, they were like, this is first of its kind in the industry.
Yeah.
So it's a double-sided puzzle
Okay.
to help you manifest whatever it is you want.
I like it.
Whatever it is you want.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying this to say that it was the mindset that made us survive that period, that the challenge, right?
Right.
And at the same time, we're able to do even more.
Love it.
The challenge was not like a roadblock. We didn't see it like something that was going to stop us. No, it gave us momentum. It gave us a drive to just take it on and keep going.
Right. Yeah, I love
And the interesting thing is the trajectory of the business just took off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. And I'm with you. I'm hearing you, and it's funny because I always talk about these podcasts. Like certain things people say, and I get chills because I agree with you on the whole mindset. It's always about the mindset. I mean, you can, when I'm working with my clients, because I work with them a lot on subconscious blocks, really breaking down why we're doing habits and behaviors that are destructive. And it's,
Yes.
we always know it gets back to something, some belief system we have, right? Something that we've constructed a picture of, and we think everything follows. And even when we project in the future, we always go back to something that happened and say, I can't do it because of this or whatever. And so I do that a lot. And so listening to you talk about this, I always say it really comes back to what we're thinking and how we're feeling about something. And, I've said this in several episodes before, because I used to be a pretty avid runner. I still work out. I don't run near as much as I used to, but my husband was an endurance athlete. And so we would sometimes go weekend after weekend where we would run multiple races. We might do a half on one day, and the next day we're doing a 5K. And I'm
Wow.
not kidding you. There would be days I would go to a race and I'd be prepared for a half marathon or marathon. And I'd get through that thing, and it wasn't easy. I'd get through it. But then the next day I'd get up to go say, I'm going to do a 5K. And physically, I was trained. A 5K is 3 miles versus 13 or 26. I mean, obviously you're trained, but the mental space wasn't right to do the 5K. And so I'd get out there and I'd struggle in a 3-mile run, So it always comes down to how we're processing what we're doing. If we're
Yes.
looking at this as I can accomplish this, I can't, because as you mentioned several times, the challenges are always there, right?
Absolutely.
So it comes down to, our perception. And I get, in listening to you, and I love that you mentioned your husband's in the personal development space, because I think that, once you move into that space, you really can't turn back, and it's like you can't unsee things,
No, you can't. Let me tell you this, Jennifer. Would you believe this? I hadn't seen him for almost 10 years,
Oh my goodness.
right? When we left high school, I hadn't seen him for almost 10 years. So
Yeah.
the first time I came was to visit.
Yeah.
Guess what? He had signed up for I think it was Robert Kiyosaki who was
Okay.
in
Yeah.
town.
Yep.
And the first thing he gave me was this book, Think and Grow Rich by
Yep.
Napoleon Hill. And we were going to all these talks and all this. I'm like, wait a minute, is this our honeymoon or is this our dating? But you
Like,
know what?
what?
But you know what? All of that comes into play now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And talking about beliefs, our beliefs are so powerful. I talk about that in the book. And where we sometimes carry these limiting negative beliefs around us and we don't even realize, right? Because they are far back in the recesses of our subconscious mind and they just drive decisions and choices that we make without even realizing. But I talk about those limiting beliefs, and then I talk about the beliefs of successful people. What do they believe about money? And would you want to know what one of my favorite ones is what I think it's Elizabeth Taylor, who is of late. She said, "Money is your best deodorant." Yeah, I like that. I like that because it just makes you, it, however you want to interpret that, it's short, but it's very significant. Money is your best deodorant. When you don't have it, you don't feel confident. You just feel like you don't have the right energy,
Right.
to do what you need to do, and so many others. Anyway, I just wanted to plug that in.
No, that's good. We could probably talk about that because I agree with you on that. And there's especially for women specifically, I don't know if you encounter this, but I work with a lot of women and I feel like money is a big, like, weird thing for women. There's a lot of emotion trapped around it, right? And I know, like, you read up on all this stuff and it goes back. I mean, some of it's just how we were raised, and where women are afraid to ask for things and their worth. And that's one of the things that I uncover a lot with people is when we get down to talking about pricing and things, they get hung up on these things like I can't do that. I can
Mm.
and even as long as I've been doing this in the personal development space, I think we all continue to still work through these things. I will find myself every once in a while downplaying something or negotiating a price or
Oh
doubting.
yeah.
And then I have to go, Joan, I have to go, no, Jennifer, we're not doing that today. We are doing this today.
Yes, yes, yes. It happens, trust me, it happens. When you've been in a situation where money was kind of hard to come by, even
Mm-hmm.
when you have it, trust me,
Yeah.
those times will come when you can easily afford whatever it is you want to get. But
Right.
that thought will creep in the back of it. Do you really want to do that?
Yeah.
And then I have
And
to say, hey, stop, stop.
yeah, and we tend to recreate what we think about. So if we're constantly in that space of scarcity mindset thinking,
Yes.
like, and I'm not we're and you and I know you and I are agreeing here. We're not telling anybody to just go out and be like, waste all your money, don't
Mm-mm,
pay attention, any of that. But
mm-mm.
but there's something that happens when we keep telling ourselves we don't have something. We keep sort of perpetuating that, right? And
Yes,
when we
yes,
change what you're talking about, the mindset, and going back to what you're saying, your mindset getting through challenges is there's something here. I mean, I don't know what it is, you can tell me, but I know mine is when I get in a situation like that, my mindset is there's a solution, I just haven't figured it out yet. And that's
absolutely.
exactly how I think about everything, even money. If I don't have what I need, I just need to figure out the solution. I don't know what that is yet, I just need to figure out what the solution needs to be.
That's right.
And that's where I think when you do that, that's where the creativity and the ingenuity comes from, right?
Yes, you build that with affirmations. I love affirmations. We have hundreds of them on our website. But I just created one on I am a success.
Mm,
And I listen to it. I have money affirmations because they slowly but surely erase the old beliefs, right?
right.
And reinforce a new belief system that
Mm-hmm.
starts working in your favor.
Yeah.
And when you start listening to them, especially before you go to bed at nighttime, they slowly but surely replace what's been um built in over the years from your childhood, maybe from school, from work, your community, from church, whatever it is. And then you start becoming this new you start seeing yourself differently, right? And the creativity just shows up.
Yeah.
You don't see those challenges as the end of the world. Even if you fail at something, it's not the end of the world. It's a learning process. It's a stepping stone, and you just keep going.
Right, right. No, that's good, Joan.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing. And I agree with you on the affirmations. I always say, it's a combination of things that we do day in and day out, habits and behaviors that we work,
Yes,
and reducing the negative emotion that's tied to these beliefs and trying to replace them with positive truths,
positive.
which are going to be
Yes,
affirmations and new successful wins to replace it. That's what we objectively, that's what we want to do, right? Because in
yes,
the end, that's what's going to release us from some of that junk. And like we mentioned already, it doesn't necessarily mean that those negative beliefs never surface again. It's just that we're better able to recognize when they're surfacing and how to abort them, how to like stop the pattern of repetitive bad behavior.
absolutely, absolutely. If you don't realize them, you will remain. It's like we call it. It's in a mental prison.
Yeah,
You don't even know you are in there, and if you don't know you are in there, how do you get out?
right.
Right? But by doing that, you're evolving, you're transforming your identity, you're transforming who you believe you are, you're transforming your mindset,
Yeah.
and things begin to take a different course. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So I want to talk a little bit, I guess, about your franchising because you've been doing this for a while and you're building out this course. And I know you're going to be excited to get this thing done and get
Yes.
everything rolling here. You'd probably be like me, like, what's that? I'm just like, I'm banking on this. I'm like, okay, my course was supposed to be done at the end of November, then the end of December. Now I'm like, January 15th. January 15th. That's our day, January 15th. So I'll be so excited. But I'd love to know, for maybe there may be somebody right now that's kind of sitting on the fence and looking into a franchise opportunity, or maybe they're leaning into this idea that I would love to get involved with one. What are some things that maybe you could put out there, maybe research or ideas or things that they could do to maybe start that process for them?
Absolutely. The very first thing I want to say is they should take some time and figure out their why. Why do they want to do this? Why do they want to get into business? Why home care or any other business? Why? Okay, because your why is very powerful. When your why is strong enough, the how will flow, the how will come along. Okay, so having said that, do some homework. We did before getting into visiting angels. We did. We did some homework. Back then there were very few franchise companies in the nation. We interviewed about 6 of them and landed on visiting angels. So do some homework. Make sure that the company's mission, vision, their core values align with yours. It's not just about if you want to go the franchise route, right? If you don't want to go the franchise route, you want to go it yourself, of course, talk to folks who have done it, who are successful in the industry. Find yourself an accountability partner. Find a mentor, right? We mentor, home care owners as well. So you can find a mentor. Do some research on the industry. The industry is growing and is projected to grow even more as the baby boomers, population increases. So do some research. What are the challenges in the industry? There are plenty. Right now, the caregiver shortage following COVID is real. It's real. What are some of the challenges? How are you going to overcome those challenges? Just do some research. I would say that would be the first thing to start. And of course, this course that we're coming out with will be a great help too. Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. Yeah, no, and thank you. I think those are good truths to really, anytime you're starting any kind of business, right? Really asking why you want to do this and doing your research. You need to know who you're, especially I think I talk about this a lot with business owners that, you need to know who your market is. And that takes research to find out who that, who that is. Because a lot of us, I think, we get into the space. I mean, you have a very specific, when you have a franchise, you have a specific market that you're targeting. But a lot of times when entrepreneurs, they decide, I want to be an entrepreneur, and they go in, they're like, I have this really great idea, right? They have no idea who their audience is yet, so they're kind of creating what would fit for them, and they don't know who their audience is. And so you've got to get clear on that. And then we want to go selling to everybody, and we can't sell to everybody, right? We have to,
You
not
know,
everybody's going to need it.
That's true. And we've learned that you have to find your niche. You have to find your niche and you have to learn who your target audience is.
Yeah.
How are you going to cater to them? So you have to do all of that. That is all part of the research. And then you set clear measurable goals.
Yeah.
Okay, we just got our registered trademark. It's called the Smarter Way.
Yay.
Yes, yes, this
I just
one.
applied for mine for Starter Girl, so I know the process.
Oh,
I
yes.
I looked at the forum the other day and I'm like, it says like 12 to 18 months. I'm like, what? It takes so
Yes.
long for them to do. Oh my goodness.
But before you know it, it'll be here, right? It'll be here.
Congratulations
So,
to you on that. That's awesome.
yes, yes. So it's called the Smarter Way. And it's based on the SMART goal setting framework, but we want to focus on goal achievement. So we added the A, okay, which is alignment. So it's really interesting. It's on our website, premierdestiny.com as well. But Premier with an E. I know you said Starter Girlz with a Z. So
Yeah, because
yeah,
I haven't found anybody else there with like Starter Girls, but I see like Starter and then and yeah. So I just always say that so they know that's where you're going. If you see one with an S, that's not us.
that's not us. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
I've dominated the Starter Girls with the Z. You can find that one pretty easily.
Good, good, good. So they should set their goals. Why are you doing this? What are you hoping to accomplish? Are you looking at money or are you looking at making a difference in people's lives? What is it that you're after? What is your mission? What is your vision? You need all those guiding principles or things set out before you even start. Okay. And then of course you want to look at your financial situation. We didn't have it when we started. So when someone tells me, oh, I want to do this, but I don't have the money, I'm like, your why is not strong enough.
Yeah.
If the why is strong enough, you find a way to, get the money to get started. You need the money to get started, but you don't have to have it. We didn't
Right.
have it.
Gotcha.
So I can say that with confidence. And now we have a very successful company. Um, yeah, so make sure you do that homework, do that legwork. And I have a friend that I'm working with, helping out. She decided to go and become an employee
Okay.
of the company that she wants to, the industry that she wants to
Good.
do her
Yeah.
business is because she wanted to know what it feels like for the employees. Okay.
It's
In
good.
our company, our employees are our backbone. They are ambassadors. They are everything to us.
Yeah.
So I really applaud her for doing that because it's not just looking at the client side. You need the employees to serve the clients. Our
Right.
philosophy is happy employees make happy clients. So you also want to look at things from that aspect as well. And of
Yeah.
course, how you going to show up in your market? How you
Right.
going
No,
to show
that's
up in your
good.
market?
Yeah, that's good.
How are you going to market your services? How are you going to what difference are you going to make in the community?
Right, right. No, I
Mhm.
love that. And I love that you mentioned that her being in the field because I do think which was going to be something I was actually going to touch upon when we were talking about all of this, talking
Mhm.
about our market because I think a lot of really good businesses come from where people sort of find a need or something that they have personally witnessed, right? Or gone through. And so and I think like you developing your course is so ideal because you've actually gone through the process of
Yes.
starting a franchise with no money
Yes.
and building that up. So you have the testimony to actually share that with somebody else going into that space. And I think that's what makes a difference when you're doing things like this is have you been in that position where now you can actually blend into it,
Yes.
you
And
know?
I love doing that.
Yeah.
Right out of high school, my first job was teaching. So I guess the teaching part of it, I just love imparting wisdom and knowledge and seeing others succeed,
Yeah.
So I think it was just a natural thing for me to do, but the experience has helped a lot as
That's
well.
so awesome, Joan. Well,
Yeah.
one other thing I wanted to ask you real quick is I know you're a mother, so you've got three kiddos, and I don't know their ages, but I'd love to know that. And then I'd also love to know are any of them um, in that thinking to be in that entrepreneurial space or no?
Yes, so they are not kiddies anymore.
I
They
figured
are
not.
they are young adults, 20, 29, 26, and 24.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're doing well. The first one is a boy, and he is very entrepreneurial. He started in high school also selling sneakers and stuff like that. But he hasn't started launch his business. He's working with us right now.
Okay.
So I don't know what direction. He's very creative and has a lot going on in his mind. But I'm very excited to see what he's going to come up with. The second one is doing very well. She's doing her residency program right now, and the last one is back to school doing her master's degree. She's a little bit on the entrepreneur. I think she's in the middle. But I hope we haven't scared them. I know the first one is not, he's into business and he's going to be successful in business. But the other two, I don't know, because they were like, we see from the early days how you worked so hard. We don't know if we want to do that. But now I think they're having some mind change. So,
Well, let's say this, in all of
mhm.
it, I'm sure that they've witnessed some extremely great work ethic. And that's probably the most important thing, I think, out of all of
Mm.
that, because I think, I have three kids, two of mine are all young adults as well. My youngest is 20, oldest is 28. And
Mm.
so I probably would say the same. My two girls, I don't think are kind of in that entrepreneur, but my youngest, my son, is very, he's only 20 and he's a sous chef right now. So he was going to
Ooh.
school and being a sous chef, but he's always trying to think of ways to like earn money, like always, like he's with
Oh,
this
yeah.
whatever he's doing. And so I remember one day we were sitting in the car or we were driving home and he's in the back seat and he's like, I need a side gig. And I'm like,
There
you
you
don't even have
go.
time for a side gig right now. Like you're working, like he works like 50, 60 hours a week and he's going to school and he's like trying to figure out another. He's like, I think I need to like sell cars or something, like buy cars and refurbish them or something. But that's how his brain, and that's why I asked you that question very early on about
Mm.
were you a young child and this was kind of always driven in you because like I said, I think some of us, yes, we sort of have an innate something in there, and it either comes from either like your situation where money was not there and you knew the only way I'm going to recreate something and get it is
Yes.
I'm going to have to make it happen, right?
Yes.
My parents were entrepreneurs, so I, like your kids, kind of watched them and I
Mm-hmm.
saw them struggle, but I also saw them have freedom and flexibility, and I admired that. And
Yes.
even though I saw them do all the hard things and have to pay employees and let people go and go through all that, I got to see them be able to make like different decisions because they weren't at the crutch of a job every day. And I'm not saying that's bad, but they didn't have to do that. And so for me, the autonomy was always, I mean, the growth, don't get me wrong, I love the growth, love the money, but it's always kind of been for me the flexibility and freedom. And I'm
Yes.
grateful that, we were in a position where my husband was doing okay and I was able to run a business that I was actually able to be home with my children
Mm.
while they were growing up. So it's not something that my mom was always able to do with me. Um, but it was something I wanted to be able to do. And I'm grateful for that
Mm-hmm.
ability to
That's
do that,
awesome.
you know?
That's awesome. That's
So,
awesome.
so good. Kudos
Yes.
to your children. That's exciting. And it sounds like they're amazing, amazing human beings. You guys have
Yes,
done very well.
they are. Yes, we're
Awesome.
blessed. We're really blessed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're
Well, I
grateful.
would love to know. I've got a couple of questions that I want to ask you, kind of personal. These are fun. I'd love to know what you learned about yourself through this journey. What do you feel like has been the big takeaway?
Hmm. A lot. At the end of the day, it's not just the goals that you accomplish, it's who you become in the process.
Yeah.
And I have seen my life change in so many different ways that I am forever grateful. Um, my faith from way back when I was young, I come from a lineage of pastors and evangelists and all of that. And you know, talking to you right now, I just realized my grandma used to do affirmations and meditation with us in the evenings. Let me just paint the picture. We didn't even have electricity in the home. We didn't have running water in our home. And she would sit us outside when the moonlight was really bright, full moon. The moonlight was out there. We'll sit out there and we'll go through songs. We'll just sing and praise and worship. And so that set the foundation for us, solid foundation. My belief system was very strong. And in spite of the financial challenges or that we faced or we went through, the love was there, the faith was there. So that helped me go through whatever challenges that came up. And I just had this confidence because of that, that everything was going to work out for my good. Everything. I just had to make up my mind to do it and go for it. Don't overthink it, because sometimes when we overthink it, the fear, the belief systems, the paradigms start creeping in and you're like second guessing yourself. Just go for it. Start where you are with what you got. And when you step out in faith, and I can tell you this is exactly what happened for us here. When you step out in faith, oops, just 1 second. Oh, when you step out in faith, believing that everything is going to work out for your good, the resources are going to come. The resources are going to come. And I had a reel that I created once saying, don't pursue success. Don't pursue success. Success is looking to come to you. Just like the book, money locates you. We are chasing money, but when you become the person that money is attracted to, the money will come. The money will come.
I'm so glad you talked about this, because I wanted to know like what made you come up with. Now I know why the title makes sense. It totally makes sense now.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
it. I love it. This
Thank
is so
you.
good.
Thank you.
Joan, somebody in this listening to this, I'm sure is going to want to follow you. And I do want to say this: you are another story that I really love about the American dream. Somebody coming here and making the best of their situation. And just to hear you, I had another gal that I interviewed here. You can look her name. She owns a company called 12 Cuts. It's a restaurant here, but she worked at Fogo de Chao. She was from, I'm drawing a blank where she was from, but she had no running electricity where she grew up, and then she moved Brazil. I think she's from Brazil. And as she moved into a place, and she was telling this story about how she wanted to get on an airplane and she left. Anyways, came to States, started working for Fogo de Chao, and then opened up her own company. And she has got like several siblings, and went back and bought houses for her parents and her siblings. And so another story where I hear something like this, where if somebody grew up in a situation where they didn't have all the amenities that we take for granted here every day. But I love your story. I commend you guys for what you've done, your work ethic. It's just incredible. So
Thank
somebody
you.
listening to this is probably going to want to hear, get your book. They're going to want to follow you. They're going to want to catch up with you. And so what I want to know is, where would you like us to send them?
Oh, absolutely. For the book, Money Locates You, they can get it on Amazon.
Okay.
It's on Amazon. For the puzzle, we're almost running out due to a lot of demand for those. They can email us at support at Premier with an E, premierdestiny.com. And they can, reach out and follow us on social media, Premier Destiny, or they can go to our website, premierdestiny.com.
Perfect.
We'd love to help them however we can.
We'll make sure when we get this, the show notes put together for this, that we get the sites in there so they know how to catch up with you and find all this. And
Thank you.
So yeah, you're doing great stuff. And again, I want to commend you, and I want to tell you thank you so much, and tell your husband thank you for reaching out to me and pursuing to get you on this show, because he messaged me.
He said, you need to talk to Jennifer. I said, who is Jennifer? I said, you need to get on her show. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, he saw the episode. It was funny because he went in and he sent me a message, and I think I missed it at first, and then I got back with him, and then we were kind of playing. I sent an email, or thought I sent it. It didn't go, and so he followed up. He was very good about following up with me and making sure.
Trust me, he's good at that.
But
he's like a dog with a bone.
Yes. Thank him for connecting us, and I'm glad that you guys are thriving now post COVID, and everybody's doing well. And want to thank you for coming on here and dropping all the wisdom to our audience and inspiring them.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Jennifer, and best of luck with your course. So January 15th, is it? It is, right? January 15th.
I have a workshop that I'm going to be participating in February. So we need to have it out so we can have some like a little bit of leverage to talk about that it's done. And I don't walk in and be like, hey, we're still working on it, right?
That's true. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm grateful.
Absolutely. And of course, to our audience, we hope that you found this episode both inspiring and informative. And if you did, you know what to do. Share, like, subscribe, comment, do all the things so we can keep sharing all this fabulous content. And as I always say, in order to live the extraordinary, you must start. Every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, be kind to one another, and we will see you next time.